So today, our topic is how to walk step by step and hand in hand with Parkinson's disease. All right? You having fun with your disease? How's life treating you these days? Huh?
Not bad.
Not bad? That's what I want to hear. What's the key to living well with Parkinson's disease? You know, we talk about this disease, we talk about you're diagnosed, and it's part of your life for the rest of your life, right? So why not have a real good relationship with it? How many of you have a good relationship with your disease? Come on, get your hands up. How many of you are trying to have a good relationship with your disease? As long as you're trying, I'll take it. It's a very difficult disease. It's a very difficult disease. It's chronic. It's degenerative. It's not going to go away. Am I right? It's not going to go away. It's not going to get better. So what's so positive about what I'm talking to you about? All right? Not a whole lot. What's the key to living well with Parkinson's? You all know this answer, or if not, you better. What's the key to living well with Parkinson's disease?
Accept it and get on with your life.
Come on, what's the word I want to hear?
Attitude.
What kind of attitude, Seal?
Positive.
Positive attitude. You've got to think positive. You have to be an optimist. You have to say, I can do it, I will do it, with no maybes. You got it? Because you have to stand up stronger and smarter than your disease. You do have to accept it. You do have to tolerate it. All right? You have to continue to love yourself and honor yourself and respect yourself with or without this disease. And that's a great big assignment I'm giving you, right?
Right.
Right. Can you do it? Yes, you can. You wake up in the morning and you play the positive note. How many of you do that? How many of you start the day on a positive note? Okay, if not, you will start tomorrow. All right? You wake up and you set the tone for your life. You choose. You know, it's a wonderful thing about being a human being and having a brain and having the ability to make choices for yourself. You can say to yourself, I'm going to be positive, I'm going to be negative. I'm going to be kind, I'm going to be hateful. All right? So you wake up and you celebrate the day that I have this day. I'm going to really enjoy it and make the most of it. You know, anybody can drift through life, right? Anybody can be mediocre. What's that word mean?
Middle of the road.
Middle of the road. I don't want any middle of the road with you guys. I want you up and standing up and absolutely your best. Because I've taught you week after week after week, you're not going to face this disease on your knees. You agree with me? This disease has got the potential, not the power. Parkinson power means you, not the disease. All right? It does have the potential, it does have some ability to run you over like a train. In what way?
If you let it.
Huh?
If you let it.
If you let it. If you let it. This is your life. My Parkinson patients, who owns your life? You do. Not your wonderful loved one, not me, not your physician, you. So it is up to you to set the standard for your life. It is up to you to play the positive note. It is up to you to try. I can motivate you just as much as I possibly can, and I'm getting pretty good at it, aren't I? I'm getting you guys just to do about anything I'm wanting you to do, okay? But I cannot wish for you more than you wish for yourself. What does that mean? I wish you a happy life. I want you to be your best, you know. I hope that you are happy. But unless you embrace it, it's not going to happen. I cannot wish, no one can wish for someone else more than they wish for themselves. That is your empowerment. That is your empowerment. That is your ownership in your life. And you got to do it. You got to do it every day, and you've got to do it deliberately. You know, I always say live life on a conscious level. What's that mean? Silly statement. I have all these silly statements that to me make all kinds of sense. You know, live on a conscious level. Think about, how am I doing? How am I thinking? What is my motivation level? What is my stress level? What is my positivity toward myself? What is my outreach, my love, and my attention to my caregiver? How many of you are doing it on a conscious level? There's nothing worse than just drifting through life, right? So the thing is that you have to stand tall. You have to do everything in your power to be your best. And you control every facet of what I call Parkinson Wellness. What is wellness? I used to teach this class for SMH called Better with Age. Isn't that cute? A good bottle of wine, right back, as opposed to a pair of worn out slippers. Ugh. Ugh. Throw out all the raggy stuff. Throw out all the gray. Huh? Better with age. That's us. Right? That's what we call sensational seniors. How many of you are a sensational senior? There's one that I will exempt, and she's a little too young over here. Let me check out who I got in my room here. You're exempt. What about the rest of you? How many of you are sensational seniors? What do you think? You're 39 sitting over there, Mr. Joy? Put your hand up.
Hey, Peter, you and me. Come on. Get it up.
There you go. Anybody over 50, better get your hand up. That's my girl. Thank you. Sensational. You are sensational. You get better with every passing day. What's so great about growing old? This will shut you up in a hurry. Huh?
Senior discount.
What's the greatest thing that we get? What do you say? What do you say?
The alternative.
It's still better than the alternative. Now, I'm not thinking negative here. I want you to think, what's the good stuff? What's the greatest thing that you gain by growing older?
Wisdom.
Thank you. Thank you, Maureen. Wisdom. Not a greater gift than wisdom. And how do we gain wisdom?
Experience.
Experience. It's the only way you're going to get it. You know, if you haven't done it, don't you be telling me. Am I right? Don't you be telling me what I should be doing if you haven't walked a mile in my shoes. All right? So with every passing day, you have life events, you have experiences, you have challenges, you have successes. And every day you learn and grow from that. Isn't that great? Don't you wish that, you know, you could just take everything you know and just drop it into your kids and your grandchildren? It just amazes me. You know, I raised 3 great kids. I love them all. But I used to say to Mikey, it ain't gonna work. I'm just telling you what you're doing. It's just not gonna work. I'm gonna do it my way. All right? And of course it failed. All right? But he had to do it his way. He had to learn. He had to fall. And he had to have the experience. The greatest gift I ever gave my mother, I think I shared this with you before, is when I turned 50 many years ago. I called her up and I said to her, Mom, I have something I want to say to you. She said, what is that, Marilyn? And she said, everything that you ever taught me and said to me was right. I thought she coded on the phone. It was dead silence. She said, what did you say to me? And I said, Mama, if I'd have listened to you, my life would have been so much easier. She was waiting to be hit by lightning, I kid you not, because I was the most strong-willed. You couldn't tell me anything from the minute I started talking. And I worked on that, and it only got worse until I got to a certain age that I realized I don't know it all. And I have to learn from others, and I have to experience, and I have to be more gracious and more humble, right? Yeah, so my mother never got over that. She hasn't been the same since I said that.
It's good to know.
It's good to know, right? So anyway, so that's my thought. So the wisdom of growing older. But as you grow older with Parkinson's disease, it's really a very difficult challenge because the challenges are great, the burden is heavy, am I right? And you're all sensational seniors. This would be a lot easier if we were 25, right? So what are the major challenges, you know, that you face? I say to you, I want you positive, I want you empowered, I want you up, I want you happy, I want you doing great things, I want you active, I want you caring for yourself. So what is the key? You get the positive attitude, and then what? What are the challenges that are negating your life? What are the challenges that are dragging you down? What is it? This is a disease that affects every single part of you. It's why I find it so, I don't know what word, I haven't come up with the right word that I want to define this disease with yet. Maybe I will after I've been doing it for another 15 years, right? But it affects everything about you. Your physical function, right? Your physical function can be altered. Right? My dancers, Saturday and Sunday, with all their limitations, and 2 of them never got out of the wheelchair, had more enthusiasm, more will, more joy in them than the pros up there, because they had this will and this aura about them. Am I right, those of you that were with me? Okay, so you got to get over the physical limitations, like what? Your tremor. How many have you had with your tremor? Is it imposing upon your ability sometimes to do? And the other thing too with this disease is, you know, you have the highs and the lows and the ons and the offs, right? So you have to really realize, how am I doing, you know, this minute? You know, it's hard when you wake up and your mind is, I'm going to do it, I want to do it, right? But then all of a sudden the physical component kicks in, and you might be tired or fatigued or whatever, unable to do what your head wants you to be doing. But the tremor can really impose upon you with your dexterity, your buttons, your writing, and some of the more fine-tuned motor skills that you like to do, right? What else?
If you're going through sleep disturbances, that can wreck your day.
Yeah, the sleep disturbances is big. It's big. You need to sleep. We have to find a way to have you to sleep. Now you're sleeping well, right?
Not as well as I'd like to be, but better than it was.
Okay, but we're working on it, right? All right, Dr. Madden is going to speak on sleep dysfunction, January the 10th. Do not miss it. It's what you can do for sleep health, hygiene, and get a good night's sleep. If you're not sleeping, you need to get a hold of your neurologist and tell them, I'm not sleeping, because you're using so much energy to function during the course of the day that you need a good night's sleep. Okay, watch your napping during the course of the day. If you say to me, Mara, I'm napping between 6 and 8 and I go to bed at 9, what are the odds? Right? So give me some sense here. Give me some sense here. Or if you know you're going to retire at 10 o'clock, you know, I don't want a Starbucks coffee or a glass of red wine in you at 9:30. Common sense. Motor. What other motor symptoms are affecting your ability to function? Your balance, watch it, gang. Your balance is really very, very difficult, because you know what? Number one, you're slow, all right? You're slowing down. In other words, if you're walking along and you start to stumble, if you're fast, you can pull yourself out of a fall. You can pull yourself back into a center of gravity so that you won't stumble and go down. Lots of times when you project your trunk forward, you have weakness in your trunk here. We call it postural instability. So many Parkinson patients along the line, they will, when they get tired, start to stoop or to go this way. It's just because these muscles are tired, okay? But you start leaning this way, down you go. Realize if you're going to lose balance and fall, which way are you going to go? You're going to fall back. I gotcha. That's my trivia for the day. All right, you lean forward because of postural instability and the gait, the shuffle gait that's associated with disease. But if you have a neuro check for Parkinson's and you stand in front of the doc, did you ever have it? You all had it, right? They give you a push, and if you all of a sudden go back in a hurry, that's a red flag for Parkinson's disease. So be very careful with this. Okay, be careful with your balance. I forbid you to fall. But I'm making a statement for you. When you fall, you're at such high risk. Okay, sweeties? Why? You know the answer to this. What happens when a senior falls? Number one killer for seniors is fall. Outdoes cancer and heart and everything else is fall. You go down, what happens? Talk to me. What happens? You go down on the floor, boom. You break your hip, you break your shoulder, right? Where are you then? You on the OR table, right? You're doing anesthesia. Parkinson patients, your Parkinson body hates anesthesia, but we have to do it when we have to do it. And then you're laying in a rehab bed, right? And then all of a sudden you have what? Pneumonia, clots, infection, and see, the other big problem with you, darlings, is if you fall and hit your head. If anybody falls with the slightest bump to the head, I want you to the ER. Are you clear with me? Right, George? George? Right, honey bunny? He stumbled on the chair here, last month? Right? And I gave a directive I'd like him to go and have him checked. And Delaski's always listen, don't you, darling? Right across the street he went. But I felt fine because he had, film done, he's fine. You have to worry with a slow bleed when you're going to bump your head. Okay? So I would rather you, if you do fall, and some of you are falling all the time, I understand that. But if this fall is a little different than some of the other falls, and if you think the slightest inclination you might have hurt yourself, please be checked out. This is your life, right? And it's worth the peace of mind of it. Plus you had stitches too, didn't you? I was going to stick a Band-Aid on there, but then I said, well, maybe we need to have you checked because I didn't want his pretty face to have a scar. Right? And they called me up and says he got 5 stitches in his forehead, and I was like, thank heaven I sent him over there.
And what are the caregivers doing in your pharmacies?
Yeah. All right. Okay. So the other thing that I want you to be real careful of is your freezing. You're freezing with this deal. How many of you freeze? What does the freeze mean? You're going along perfect and all of a sudden you stop. You just flat stop. And usually you'll stop if there's a break in the pattern on the floor or whatever. Like if you have a carpet in your home and all of a sudden you go into the kitchen and there's a different colored tile, your body will freeze. All right? How do you get out of it? You have to be very careful here. This is your highest risk of fall is when you're in a freeze. Because you freeze, you can't move, and you're going down. Okay? How do you get out of a freeze? How many of you have experienced a freeze? Some of you never get it. Some of you might get one tomorrow afternoon. All right? What do you do to get out of a freeze?
For me, the only thing that works is kind of go blank for
Okay.
a little bit and restart.
Yeah. You want to do what I call trick the brain. Step backwards. Your body, you're saying to anybody, and you caregivers, if you have your loved one in a freeze, you can say move, take a step, up. You might as well just save your breath because their brain is not going to do anything with that command, all right? So when you're in a freeze, you want to trick your brain. Your brain is frozen in that second. You can't command it, all right? So do the opposite of what your brain is wanting you to do. That's why I call it trick the brain. So if you're wanting to move forward, take a step to the side, take a step to the back. If you're having to move forward, march. You can march, with the soldier marches up and down. The other thing that really works is one of those little laser flashlight things right out there. Your brain will see it and it'll go for it. Okay, so the physical issues with Parkinson's, they're going to make you struggle, all right? They also sometimes when you Parkinsonians are limited with your physical function, what happens to the demands for the caregiver? The demands for the caregiver means you're going to need maybe a little bit more help. All right, maybe a little bit help if you're off and not able to do the buttons that day or do certain things, activities of daily living. You're going to require a little bit more help and assistance. Does that mean you don't try? Does that mean you don't try? No. You're going to do as much for yourself as you can. There's your esteem, there is your confidence, there is your sense of self. You are an adult. You are not a little child that needs to be helped and taken care of. All right? So you get up based on how you're feeling that day and you do the utmost for yourself, the most for yourself. If you need help, if you need assistance with anything that you require, then you graciously request it of your caregiver. Did you hear me? Graciously, would you please help me? I'm having a hard time. Now you have to be careful with my caregivers because a lot of times when we want to do something for ourselves and all of a sudden you can't do it because you're limited functionally, it can lead to the frustration. Right? I told you about that blouse I had on last month. Do you know, I look at the darn thing sometimes and I don't even take it off the hanger, and that glass makes me so mad because it's got these little itty bitty buttons. You know, and I was so mad by the time I finally got the glass button because it had to have 15 buttons up the front. So you know what I do to make me happy? I stay away from the glass. I just say, okay, just hang there. All right? But you guys, you know, the other thing too that's kind of really cool is pick out garments that you can don yourself. You know, like the golf shirts? These are great, aren't they? Right over your head, like Jeff has on. You look terrific. And right over the head, one button instead of this many. All right? With your shoes, put your shoes on. Now, I want you to be careful when you put the shoes on. What position do I want you in when you're putting shoes on? Sit. I don't want to see any of this stork stuff hopping around. Yeah, that would be me hopping out the front door. Where's the other shoe, right? No, you will sit down. You have to remember when you bend over, you know, your pressure is affected. You're going to lose your balance. So you sit down, you put on your shoes. If you can manage your tie, terrific. If not, lean toward the Velcro. You know, put on clothing for ease and for comfort and look nice. So, and the other thing too is adaptive utensils. I want you feeding yourself. All right? I want you feeding yourself. So if you're having trouble with peas on the fork, guess what? Peas on a spoon. Eat carrots, says Naomi. All right? But they have really great adaptive devices that you can hold on to. They also have writing pens and things like that that you can utilize. Okay? Do for yourself. The more you do for yourself, the more under control you feel. The more you do for yourself, the less the caregiver has to do. Now, you caregivers, I know you love them with all your heart, but please do not spoil them. Do not spoil them. Do not baby them. What is your job?
Help when needed.
Help when needed. Motivate them to do for yourself. You can do it, honey. Let me know if you need me. You got it? Don't be jumping in there, buttoning the buttons, cutting the meat and stuff like that. Now, if it's an automatic thing that you know that they can't do, all right, then just say, honey, I'm going to help you with this, okay? All right, great. But wait for the request. Do not assume. All right?
You've said this many times.
I say it every week. I'm waiting for you to get it. What? Huh?
I keep saying, Mara said we have to do it ourselves,
Right.
but I do it myself.
Yeah, see, you hear my voice in the night, don't you? I've been accused of a lot. I had one family that anytime she couldn't get him to do what he was supposed to be doing, she would say, Marilyn said. Mary said you're supposed to be doing this, so do it. Right? So you can blame me, because you love me enough that you're not going to get mad at me, I know that. But really do for yourself. And you caregivers, what is your primary mission in life? Is it to tie shoes and cut meat?
No.
No, what is it?
To love them.
You love them to death, all right? And you maintain their self-respect and dignity. That's your role, my caregivers. You take a look at your loved one, and you realize, well, Parkinson's disease has had an impact on them, all right? The challenge of living with this disease is huge. I always teach caregivers, you want to really get it, you want to wrap your head around it, you get right behind the eyes of the person that you're loving and caring for. Isn't that the easiest way to do it? Right? I always taught nurses, I said, you know, you cannot meet someone's needs, you cannot give good, loving care to someone unless you understand what they are feeling. Not so much how they are. I don't care how you are. Did you know that? I do. I don't care how you are. I care how you feel. Because that's the only thing that matters here. How do you feel about your life? How do you feel about your life with Parkinson's disease? How do you feel about yourself? So the primary role and responsibility of a loving caregiver, because love comes naturally. I just can't get you to stop loving them. Right? I always say, you can't make love happen and you can't make it stop. Not mundane. You ever think about it? You can't make love happen and you can't make it stop. All right? You want to love them. I want to love them. I personally think there is no limit, there is no ceiling on the amount of love that you can give another human being. That's what makes me tick. I don't even care if I know you or not. I love you anyway, right? Just who I am. Because the more you love somebody, the more you get in return. All right? But you want to love them, that comes automatically. I couldn't get you to quit. I've never had a caregiver quit. Did you know that?
No.
Somebody said to me once, was he going to divorce me? No, of course not. If anything, what does it do? It brings you together. You are a whole when you are together. It amazes me. Because y'all know I've done all the neurologicals, and I'm a brat now because I'm hopefully in the last decade of my career, but then again, I'm not sure. I got my little stool here so you can just belt me in up here and I'll just keep on talking. You got my videos, right? But you have to love what you do. You have to love each other, all right? And you need to promote and establish you can be your best. I'm proud of you. The greatest thing you can say to anybody in the world is what? I love you. I am proud of you. Some days there's a real fine, there's a real fine line between love and hate. Have you noticed that? That's why I always say, I love you, but, anybody in my life that knows that I'm coming in on a negative note, just ask my kids. If I lead in with, I love you, but, they know it's coming. But you prelude it with something positive, okay? So there is not enough love that you can give your loved one. And you caregivers, and you Parkinsonians, please remember how great your life is. Because you have your mate, your loved one. Am I right? You have someone in your family, brother, sister, kids, husband, wife, that's with you. And that's what I'm saying. Take a step every day, hand in hand, step by step with Parkinson's disease. You're not going to do this by yourself. Have you all learned that yet? Nobody can be successful, and I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're doing. You have to reach out to somebody, anybody, and say, walk with me, help me, show me the way. All right? The last, are you holding hands over there? I got to keep an eye on you guys over here. I see you all holding hands out there. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be successful alone. I never worry about these two. If these two aren't smooching, I figure they're fighting,
The first 50 years are lousy.
Aww.
After that, it's only good.
It's all good. I know better. All right? But, reach out for help and do it in a kind and loving, respectful way. And always, always, always appreciation. I want to always hear a thank you. I want to always hear a please. There's not a nicer thing than positive affirmation. What do you think happens to the sense of self for a beautiful man or woman that's living with Parkinson's disease? What do you think is happening to their esteem and their sense of self? What do you think it does? Do you think it escalates? Huh? Oh, I have Parkinson's, I'm better than ever. Right? I look better, I act better. Oh, wow, look at me go. Whoopee. What do you think it's doing? It has a means to knock it down a few, right? How does having Parkinson's make you feel? Huh? Answer me, please.
Frustrated.
Frustrated. Here we go again. What else? Huh? Man. Jeff, you're man.
Very hard to find.
Huh?
It's hard to find.
It's hard to find. Jeff is a good friend of mine. His sister, Becky, we've been friends, my gosh, since I moved in '81. I've known Becky and Billy, and they're wonderful people. And he only came to have lunch with me because he's heading to Venice to be with his mother. I think I'm upset with you, baby doll. But he's a great golfer. And it's hard, isn't it?
Very hard.
It is tough. This is a disease that will take from you. And you've got to wrap your head around giving up. Not giving up, but maybe just lowering the bar a little bit. So he's mad, and you have a right to be mad. You're a human being, and we all want to do the things that we want to do. We all want what we want. It's part of who a human being is, right? I want what I want when I want it. That is it. And if you take it away from me, or if you say no to me, I am angry with you. Don't do it. All right? So you have to learn to be gracious with who you are and what you are today. All right? That's why I'm so proud of Richard. He had to give up so many things, but we got trains, right? And I was so happy when you told me that the trains gave you some joy back in your life and a hobby to do again. That's what it's all about. That's what you say on the golf course, Jeff, right? How many of you have had to give up things that were very special to you, things that you really enjoyed and wanted? Yeah. Like what, huh? Golf? You're kind of can't golf anymore, but she makes the finest cookies in the world.
Driving.
In the world, huh?
Driving.
Driving is big, all right? We love the impulsivity of getting in the car and taking off. And the thing too with Parkinson's disease, because it does slow you down, then we trigger in with a little bit of apathy, all right? Slows you down. You lose the impulsivity. Someone that finds it easy to get up, get dressed, get out, bada bing, bada boom, I'm out, I'm done, it's easy, no energy, no nothing. All right, I can drive, I can dress, I can find my way. It's simple. Let's do it. But with this disease, because it slows you down, you become a little bit more apathetic, and rightly so. It takes energy for you to get up and get showered and get dressed, right? And to eat. So by the time you're out the front door, and it takes you longer to do it, right? So you lose the impulsivity. Do it anyway. If you have to give up the car keys, I expect you to do it as an act of free will. I expect you to make the right choice for yourself and for the world at large. All right? There's a lot of people that will help you, that will drive you. All right? We have members here that are on the Scout Bus every single day, but they're here, right, Carol? Her family helps her, but when her family can't help her, she's here anyway. Okay, find a way. All right? Give up the past. Can't have it anymore. Then you say, okay. I always say, if I don't have it, I don't need it. And focus on something else fun. I want you to just live. This is a disease that so many times the full focus 24 hours a day is the Parkinson's disease. I don't want that. I want to focus on you as a human being, you and your relationship, you and your life, doing the things that you want and love to do. That's quality of life. Quality of life is nothing more than doing the things you love to do with the people that you love to do them with, right? And if you can have 1 hour a day doing that, then you have quality of life. How many of you have that? Some of you have 24 hours a day of quality of life. If you're with somebody that, you know, that really matters to you. That's huge.
I always say, don't forget to laugh.
Don't forget to laugh. Don't forget, Mary Massey, I'm researching a program called Laughter Yoga. Doesn't that sound cool?
She gave us a little taste of that.
Did you love it?
Didn't you hear us?
Well, you know, I hear so many strange noises in here. My office is right there. I'm very rarely in there. But the only time I'm in there is when I know where you guys are, which means you are in here. Okay? Larry was in there. He says, how do you stand this office between the bongo drums, you know, and the screams, and the voice, and the laughing, and the noise? I said, I like it here, you know. But laugh. You know, you have a choice. Do I laugh or do I cry? You know, you have a chance. You have an opportunity when you're frustrated or upset or anxious. You know, it's very easy to go through life crying. All right? I don't want you crying. I want you laughing. I want you happy. You know, people say to me, Parkinson patients don't smile. That ain't true. You know that? You smile at me all the time. So if you can't smile, laugh. All right? So go through life with a smile on your face.
No whining.
What there?
No whining.
No whining. No whining.
Some whining.
You can whine. My daughter gave me this one thing. This crazy woman, I think she, you know, no, it's Dolly Mamas. Do you know Dolly Mamas? Go Google Dolly Mamas. It just continued. But I have a collection of Dolly Mamas, and a fully lit curio thing, and they all have funny sayings. They're made of metal with the plumes and the feathers and the glitz. So my grandchildren think that this reminds them of Nana. And so I have a collection of these Dalai Lamas, but the one says, when I whine, I whine. She's standing with a little bottle of red, which would be Nana, okay? But it's funny saying. It's funny, it's just funny sayings. Like, every time I find Mr. Right, my husband scares him away. I'll bring some in, they'll make you laugh, okay? They're just funny sayings. But don't want, and if you, the other thing too is really pick the people in your life that you want to spend the day with, right? You know, lose the sourpusses and the doom and glooms and everything, because laughter and positivity and optimism is contagious. It's contagious. You know, the best thing that, you know, that you can do for somebody else is to be positive and to be promoting. You know, the data even proves that, you know, an optimist will live better, live longer, be happier, do better with their disease, do better with the challenges in their life if you're playing the positive note. And you have the choice. You know, I'm not saying that you don't have a right to be sad or be discouraged or have some of the many multitude of words that define this disease. I mean, when I say, how do you feel with Parkinson's disease, I don't say, oh, I am happy and I am grateful, you know, and I am this, that, and the other thing. When I say, how do you feel, it's all this negative stuff. All right? So you flip it. You flip it. No matter how thin you slice it, you can flip it. So if you're feeling blue, so feeling low, then laugh. You know? Laugh. How many of you laugh every day? Come in here, you'll laugh.
That's what we do.